We are going to address the public hearing first, and, council, is there any changes that you would like, or is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor of approving the agenda for public hearing? Thank you. Al?
We have two items on our public hearing agenda today, and I'll move through them one at a time. Public hearing has been called on item number 1, Z-24-04 rezoning. City of Houston applicant property owner seeks rezoning from R1 single-family low-density residential district to institutional district of approximately 11.25 acres of property on the north side of Peachtree Road. Map parcels 120/010B, 120/010E, 120/010I, and 120/010C. Includes 84 and 142 Peachtree Road. The proposed uses are institutional, city hall and police facilities, parking lot, and parks and open spaces, and I hereby open the public hearing. Jennifer, could you confirm that notice has been given?
It has.
All right, after we hear a report from the city planner, we will allow speakers both in support of and in opposition to the application. All speakers must abide by the following rules, and this goes for this item as well as item 2 on the agenda. When I ask if anyone wishes to speak, please raise your hand. If you do wish to speak, I'll then call you up, come to the microphone, speak clearly into the microphone. Initially, state your name, your address, and whether you're a resident of the city of Houston. Speak only to the merits of the application. Address all comments to mayor and council. Refrain from personal attacks. Discuss the facts instead of giving opinions and speculation. To allow an opportunity to as many people who wish to speak as possible, please don't duplicate points that have already been made. Each side will have a total of 10 minutes to speak. I'll ensure that everyone gets an opportunity to speak. Agenda and outlines of public hearing procedures are located on a table near the entrance to the meeting room. And after the hearing is closed, we will move on to the next item. All right?
This rezoning is, like Ab said, for the city hall, for the property the city recently purchased on Peachtree Road. While public use is permitted in R1 zoning district, it is consistent with past city policy to have the buildings that we use be institutionally zoned, and that's the purpose of this request.
All right, does anyone wish to speak in support of the application? If so, raise your hand. Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the application? If so, raise your hand. Do y'all have any questions for anyone?
I'm sorry. It is the recommendation of planning for approval?
Yes, Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval.
All right, any other questions or comments? Then I'll close the public hearing. We'll move on to item 2. A public hearing has been called on item 2 on the agenda, Z-24-05 rezoning, City of Houston applicant, when Peacock LLC property owner seeks rezoning from PUD, Planned Unit Development, Conditional Ordinance Z-21-11 as modified by Ordinance Z-22-13 to PUD Conditional, to modify conditions of zoning approval for 11.5 acres, map parcel 120/010A, fronting on the south side of Industrial Boulevard, the west side of State Route 53, and the east side of White Street. Proposed uses, no changes proposed from approved. 225 dwelling units, apartments, and 60,000 square feet of non-residential commercial office restaurant space. And I hereby open the public hearing. Jennifer, could you confirm that public notice has been given?
It has.
All right.
The primary purpose of this request is to modify the conditions of a previous ordinance. The condition we're modifying is their site plan. The previous site plan showed the commercial elements facing Industrial Avenue, or Industrial Boulevard right there, and this is flipping it to where the residential portion of the development will be right there. There will be a commercial portion of the development, and then that will abut the new city hall space that we just talked about. And Planning and Zoning recommended approval.
Does anyone wish to speak in support of the application? If so, raise your hand. All right, come on up. Does anyone else wish to speak, or are you it this evening? All right. That's what I figured. You have up to 10 minutes. You can reserve any of that time as you wish for rebuttal in case you need it. If you'll state your name, your address, whether you're a resident of the city of Houston. Thank you.
Do I need to activate this mic?
Yes, we're on. It should.
We're
You should be able to turn it on.
There it is. Okay. Matt Benson, 1550 North Brown Road, Lawrenceville, Georgia, resident of Jackson County, and not less than I've yet worked here.
You'll have to hold the mic, please.
I am representing the property owner affected by the application before you tonight, which was initiated by City Council. With me is the owner of the LLC that owns the property, Dr. Kumar, the engineer with PEC, Joel. If you have technical questions regarding the plan that Mr. Blackstock hasn't already addressed, Joel can do that, and he's glad to answer them. I probably would not be the one to do that. What I want to do is emphasize on behalf of Dr. Kumar that the owner is excited to participate as a partner with the city, accommodate the city's request, and flip his development in accordance with that request, which we do believe from our standpoint would benefit both our development, but also more importantly, the city of Houston and its residents. If you have any broad questions, I'm glad to field them. Otherwise, I might direct you to Joel. But thank you.
Thanks, Matt. All right, does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the application? If so, raise your hand. All right, do y'all have any questions for anyone or comments?
We did have one question.
All right.
Did you get a chance to talk to Dr. Brown yet about where the bus stop would be? What? Sorry, Dr. Kumar.
Just so it's clear, we know who you are, but if you would state your name, your address, whether you're a resident of the city of Houston.
Sri Kumar, my business address 3955 Highway 53, Houston. So I'm the property owner and I represent Win Peacock LLC. I was in the last meeting for Planning and Zoning Commission. Dr. Brown raised a point regarding the bus stop, and this is too early to discuss once the development happens. At the time, the bus stop for the school children will be decided in accordance and collaboration with the city council.
All right, any other questions or comments?
I had a question for our planning and zoning reasons. Hugh, on page 5, under conclusion, it says approval is recommended if appropriate during rezoning processes. The city can consider and, if appropriate, apply conditions. What kind of conditions are appropriate, or what are you talking about there?
So based on the full zoning report, some of the potential conditions in that report mentions would be access to the multi-use path and ensuring that both properties have a multi-use path through them, and that it connects to the existing ones. It would be ensuring we have interparcel access between the two developments, and then there may be some buffer requirements, particularly on the portion of the city's development where we abut residential neighborhoods right there. Something, our zoning ordinance does not require institutional zoning districts to have a buffer with residential zoning districts, but it may be worth considering adding some sort of screening buffer in right there.
So you're talking about a buffer for separation of the facility to Alma Farms?
Yes, just to block noise, headlights, anything like that.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, then I'll close the public hearing. That'll conclude our public hearing agenda.
Okay, great. So we are. We'll go ahead and go into the work session. So I'd like to call that to order, please. I'd like to recommend agenda approval unless anybody has any changes to the agenda. Is there any changes? Okay, so I made a recommendation for approval. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Thank you. Before we talk about any of the reports by mayor, council, and staff, we sort of forgot to put on here a pledge of allegiance and a prayer, so I'm going to actually ask that for it now. So Jennifer, could you do a prayer, please?
Thank you. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for gathering together tonight to do the business of the city of Houston. We ask that you give us wisdom, God, to make the best decisions. In the name of Jesus, amen.
And could you stand for the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, new business, item number 1. Do you want me to start on that, or do you want to start?
You can.
This is the Jackson County, water agreement, purchase agreement. This is, nothing has changed, the fee hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is the duration. We are currently under a 3-year contract, and we're going to an 18-month, contract, and we will reevaluate again in 18 months. That's new business item number 1. Is there any questions, concerns on this? No? Okay. Oops. By the way, we don't have any super major announcements in reports, so what we're gonna do, going forward, it makes the meeting not last terribly long, is we'll put them in the packet, and then if you can read them, and of course, during citizen input, we can always take those kinds of questions. Okay, item number 2, this is the IGA for the Houston Park. That's over here to my left, your right. We've gone through this agreement a couple of times. We've talked amongst ourselves a couple of times about this. Nothing has changed for the citizens. Tina was extremely helpful in making sure that happened. In other words, you could still use the restrooms, you'll use the playground, you could use the track, even though there's gonna be a charter school there. We did remove, one paragraph that says it could subject to change. No, we've had that removed. The county has already approved this IGA. AB has met with each of the attorneys for the county and for Brazelton, and they're all in agreement. So that's the status of this IGA. Is there any questions that you'd like to ask, counsel?
I just wanted to make a statement. I am still struggling with this one. I don't see how it benefits the city of Houston to take the existing agreement that is good through July 28th of 2029 and replace it with a 40-year agreement, which signs away. We'll still have access for our citizens, which is good, but I just don't know how this benefits the city. It's clear it benefits the charter school, and the county would like to upgrade the fields, but with priority use going to the charter school, again, we're signing away 40 years of use of our land, and I do not see for what purpose. So if somebody can discuss it with me or enlighten me what's motivating Houston to approve this, I would appreciate it.
Do you have any input on
I do not have any other input except I do know that they are asking for a longer term so that they can do some improvements to the property.
that? I think 1.2 million, or?
They are doing a portion of it, and the town of Brazelton is also investing money into the improvements. So that is why the county is wanting a longer term, they're making such an investment.
I understand the county's motivation and the city of Brazelton's motivation. Just as the perspective from Houston, I'm not sure about signing away our rights to it for 40 years.
Do you think we're really signing our rights away?
I'm no attorney, but we're signing away something for 40 years. We can't do with it what we will. I mean, I guess we can still sell it. Anyway, we have a valid 10-year auto-renewing agreement, and I don't know, again, what would motivate us to want to change that. We're not going to benefit from new turf. That's all.
Well, I believe our soccer field, our side of the soccer field will.
Sure, the county will be able to run their leagues on turf.
And it is part of our comprehensive plan. You know, and we both agree on this, that we do need,
Green space.
green space, park space. So that is a portion of our, comprehensive plan, which, you know, that helps as well.
I don't know how to answer you any further. I'm sorry, Tina.
I was just putting it out there to ponder,
And I
or if
appreciate
anybody had some points or something, because, again, we don't get lease money, we don't have priority use. It's counted in our park space. I hear that our citizens will have full access, but the school has priority use. Just concerned. 40 years is a lot.
I appreciate that. Did you have something?
Well, the only thing that I was gonna say is, the school does have priority use, but school is only in session, you know, from 8 to 4, weekends and, evenings, we will have access to the park. And, I just think, that it's a win-win, that at least we are given the opportunity to use it, you know, even though, they are building a new school on it. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Any other input?
I feel like I'm obligated to speak on this, being the walker of city council. So, Tina, I really appreciate you bringing up your concern, and I'm excited about the expansion of our green space, the beautification of it, if you will, which we're going to talk about a little further tonight, another agenda item. But I think it'll be a win-win for Houston, for the county, for the charter school. I'm excited for kids that are playing soccer as you pull into Houston to be on a beautiful turf field, and anybody here that wants to walk in the evening, they'll be able to do so. And I enjoy walking around the baseball field, the future park, and around the city of Houston during school hours if I'm able to sneak out. But I appreciate both sides' perspective.
Mm-hmm. Okay. If there's no more, then I'll go ahead and move on to the next item. Tina, duly noted, just so you know. Okay, item number 3, Resolution 2025-08. Jennifer? Want to speak to that?
Yes, ma'am. Resolution 2025-08 is a personnel policy update for our retirement plan. If y'all remember during the budget time, we decided not to continue on with our simple IRA, and we went to a pension plan. And that is something that y'all voted on. So basically, all we're doing is just updating the personnel policy. Anytime we make any kind of amendment to the personnel policy, we have to bring it before council. Y'all handle procedures and policies. So that is just taking the IRA out and putting the pension in.
Questions, anyone? All right, we will move to item number 4. This is Resolution 2025-09. It's a resolution of the City of Houston recognizing Georgia Cities Week, and the dates are April 21st through April 26th, 2025. I just realized the paper's not here. Where's Ben?
Yeah, he's not here tonight.
Okay. I would like to encourage all citizens in supporting the celebration and the activities which staff and myself are currently working on. We'll do something like clean up like around the city like we did, I think it was last year or 2 years ago it was. Dave's made some contacts with some churches that want to get involved with us for this Georgia Cities Week. So this is Resolution 2025-09. Any questions from council? Okay, item number 5, TA, that's text amendment -25-01, sign ordinance text amendment. I'm gonna turn it over to Hugh to begin. Oh, I'm sorry, council, well, you tell them what you've handed out, if you don't mind, Hugh.
Yep, I handed out just a little packet with all of the changes highlighted in red so that they were pretty distinguishable, and it's just only the changes, so it's not in a full, as part of the full sign ordinance. This amendment is to amend 4 sections of the sign ordinance pertaining to lighting, sign height, ground sign square footage, and then the construction of the sign. It is not intended to replace having the Planning and Zoning Commission review the sign ordinance and make long-term changes. It is to address some high points that were of concern before sending it back to them and allow them time to work through more the nitty-gritty of the sign ordinance.
Could you describe basically the major changes?
Yeah.
For everyone, if you don't mind, please?
So some of the major changes, it's all of the signs will have to be externally illuminated. They will have to be white light instead of multiple colors of light. It prohibits flashing, blinking, fluctuating light. Those are the lighting restrictions. Our sign height in our commercial, industrial, and institutional zoning or uses, the sign height has been reduced from 24 square feet to 12 square feet. For agricultural and residential land uses, the maximum height on the principal ground sign has been reduced to 10 feet from 12 feet. There's also some reduction in your accessory ground signs. The overall square footage that is allowed has been reduced to 74 square feet, and as part of that, signs that are greater than 60 square feet will not be permitted to be more than 12 feet in width to prevent almost billboard-looking signs. The final change is a change to the construction of the sign, and it's that the materials and the shapes and the colors used will be similar to the principal building on the property.
Hugh, great work here.
Council, any questions? Good job, Hugh. Next item on the list is bid 2025-001 for Oak Street Park. Is nobody here to speak to that bid?
I did not see anybody out in the audience.
Council, do you have any questions regarding the bid in front of you?
None.
What are you all on, Benadryl tonight?
No, I just don't have it.
Okay, I'll go into item number 7. This is bid 2025-002. This is a demolition of the home on Mulberry Park. Council, any questions regarding the bids in front of you? Okay, item number 8, Wildflower at Village, request for speed tables. So I'll just start this off. I was approached by some people at Wildflower who are here tonight, thank you for coming, about all the through traffic through Wildflower, and not only through traffic, but speeders. some of us here have experienced the craziness on the road ourselves. So the request from Wildflower was, could we put speed bumps on the street there, on the main street? So I turned that over to Jennifer, and then Jennifer had some follow-up meetings with them. Go ahead and summarize your meetings, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Mayor. So I did get the opportunity to go to their HOA meeting, and I see that there's 3 residents of that community here tonight. And the speed humps that they are wanting they're basically tables. And there's 3 of them, and if you look in your packet, they did provide a map showing where they wanted those. Because of the park that's over there, the softball field, they do attract a lot of traffic. That's just one example of the traffic. Not only that, but a day-to-day, it's a cut-through. And so they are in need, or they are requesting speed humps. We have talked back and forth about which kind that they would like, and they have requested a certain kind. We know that, I don't have an exact quote, but I'll have one. I'm trying to get the feel for what y'all are going to express to me, which direction to go. The ones that they're requesting will run us about $20,000 to $25,000, and so at this time for 3 of them, for the total of 3. But I'll have a more accurate quote depending on which way we go before the next meeting next Thursday. I know that they are wanting to speak on behalf of their neighborhood. Would y'all want them to speak now, Ab, or during citizen input?
That's up to mayor and council.
I prefer for y'all to speak now. Council, are you all right with that?
Yes.
Do y'all want to speak? All right, if y'all come up, y'all can come up all at the same time, just take turns, and just like we did in citizen input on those public hearing items, just state your name, your address, whether you're a resident of the city of Houston, and say what you want to say about this issue.
All right.
Uh-oh. But no treats. Cheryl.
Thank you all for letting us sit on.
Yeah, and I'll just ask y'all each to state your name, your address, whether you're a resident of the city of Houston. That's because for the minutes, we put that in there, and of course, there may be people watching that don't know you, so, thank you.
Stephanie Myers, 176 White Trillium Drive in Houston.
Jeff Horney, 153 White Trillium Drive in Houston.
Cheryl Taylor, 420 White Trillium Drive in Houston, and owner of the Buck Basket.
Ace Savito, 100 Powell Court, Houston.
So, again, we're dealing with a situation in our neighborhood that is a major cut through, whether it's to go to the softball fields, to cut through to the city, to avoid Old Peachtree, to avoid 53, whatever the reason is. We find on the main strip, we do have a stop sign in the middle of the neighborhood. They oftentimes will just barely tap or run through the stop sign. We have several children in our neighborhood. We have school-age children that like to ride bicycles. And day in and day out, we're having people come through that neighborhood at 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. It happens during rush hour times. It happens in the evening. It's really bad on the weekends. So we need to do something to protect the kids, and not only the children, but we have a lot of people that like to walk in our neighborhood, walk their dogs. I know the neighbor that lives across from me has had to literally jump back with her dogs off of the sidewalk because of people coming up the road so fast, and they're not off the side of the road completely, but it scared her enough that she had to jump back. Do you guys want to add anything additional?
Can I ask you a question about something you said, please?
Of course.
You said it's a lot on the weekends. Is it because they're going to the ball field?
It is
Is that
100%
why?
the ball field traffic on the weekends.
Interesting. The late game. And we've sent our police to go over there and kind of stick it all out, and it works while they're there, and that's really it. Is that right?
That's what we believe, and thank you, Brad. We know that you guys have been in there more frequently lately, and we appreciate that. We thought that that would really have an impact, and I'm sure it does when they're sitting there. Weekends are really, really tough for us, so we feel like we need to bump it up to the next level. We just don't want to take a chance of a child getting hurt in our neighborhood.
Well, we've also have gone the route of where we have gone to the city and to add, the speed limit signs. So this isn't just a the first attempt at lowering the speeders. We've even had neighborhood signs, made up of please slow down, please slow, kids in the neighborhood, kids at play, things like that. And I live in the back of the neighborhood, which there are no the speed limit signs do not face. Like if they're coming from the ballpark and going up to the front entrance, you can't really see the speed limit. So they have no idea. So when it changes from 25 from the ballpark to 15 to our neighborhood, that's where we get more speeders right there. And also I've seen an increase in traffic from Publix, like from the neighborhoods going through our neighborhood going to Publix. Yeah.
Well, why can't you see the speed limit sign?
I don't know.
Is it blocked by a tree
but no, I mean, they're not. Oh, they did? Okay, gotcha. My bad. They moved them last week. Yeah, but when they put them in, they did it from the front. Yeah, so that's.
I was just going to make an observation as someone who does go through that neighborhood to come to city council meetings or whatever. And today I happened just to count something for consideration, the number of cars that are parked on the sidewalk, preventing the children or forcing the children to go into the street. I've come down there and a kid will, be riding his bicycle and jump out in the street because somebody's parked their car across the sidewalk. And so that's, while the speed bumps are probably very necessary, it's not going to alleviate the risk of the children coming out to the street because of the cars that are parked across the sidewalk. So today I counted 14 on the way here that are parked on the sidewalk, preventing the kids from walking. Just an observation. Speed bumps are obviously needed.
Is that?
What do you mean parked across the sidewalk?
Exactly that. They are, the sidewalk goes in front of the house, they park their car halfway on the driveway, or in two cases today I did notice, and believe me, I was involved with girls softball for 12 years, so I know about the ballpark. So like some of the big trucks, it's the trailer hitches are right covering the sidewalk. So that's what's forcing the kids to come off the sidewalks and go into the street.
Got it, I understand.
And that's an observation. And I don't know what the ordinance is. Maybe Brad knows about parking over the sidewalks, but I don't think it's supposed to. So.
Do y'all?
If I could just, you have 3 board members from the HOA here this evening as well. We are relentlessly on top of the neighborhood about parking on the sides of the street and on the sidewalks in general. We have done as much as we can do from a fining perspective.
So I wasn't there when you went through, but I'm a violator because I have an 18-and-a-half-foot truck and a 23-foot driveway. And if you have another car in front, so yes, it happens.
May I ask you a question about these speed bumps? There are certain kind of speed bumps, all kinds of speed bumps. When I heard the city manager mention the $25,000 package, that comes to mind that you're talking about concrete and a bunch of work. And you're talking about a lot of time, because I would think right now, if I asked our accountant, did we have the budget for that? The answer would be, Dave, you know that answer. No, you don't. However, there are other kinds of speed bumps that slow traffic down, and that's your whole goal, correct? To slow the traffic.
Correct.
And these are ones that can be put in rather quickly as well. They are basically rubber that are hammered into your road. Are you opposed to those?
So, no, not necessarily. So we've actually had people drive through the cemetery to check out what Jennifer said we would have. Everybody was envisioning the 6-7 inch wide, 20 inch tall ones that you hit at about 3 miles an hour and they'll still knock about in the car. didn't realizing it was, 18 inches wide. We're not opposed to having those in the Triangle Mount. We do realize the speed table, like you have behind City Hall, is probably a better option. But we do realize that's much more expensive.
When the neighborhood voted on it and signed the petition, they did that in favor of speed tables, which we realize is the more expensive option. We would just need to go back to the neighborhood and get an overall vote on something different and make sure everybody's aligned with it.
If we could get it done though immediately for you by doing that, to
Correct.
see if it works and see where it takes us, that could be done pretty relatively quick. Would that help?
Yes, I believe that it would.
Okay, so.
Yeah,
can-
and if that's something that we can, if you're okay with those that we had discussed at the HOA meeting, we wouldn't have to go before council and delay the process. But with this, we'll
We
have
want
to
to
get a
help your
vote.
kids immediately.
And the portable ones are at a price level that are low enough that you could possibly put 1, 2, and kind of together like that, so it's, it's a pretty big jolt. But I think with the help of our, chief back there, saying that they do help or don't help, because all you're wanting to do is slow it down, right?
I'll tell on myself for just a minute. Y'all know I got property in Madison County down in the town of Carlton. And, the other day, I did not realize that they just put those in. And it is the rubber kind of go across
Yep.
the road, safety drive down. And I was pulling my tractor behind the truck and hit one of them, and it will slow you down.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good jolt with my big 2,500 pulling the tractor, and I came a lot slower.
I like that.
They do work, and like I said, the city of Carlton just put some in, they put 5 of them in down there on their Broad Creek Road, the railroad, and they work. I mean, that's just, unfortunately, I learned the hard way, because it was dark, and I had no idea they just put them in.
And if you have the 3 board members here, I would highly suggest maybe you talk to your people, because that's something that would be a lot more doable than the other would be, much quicker. Because the other ones, quite frankly, probably are not going to happen. There's just no money for it.
And we like to protect your kids, believe me. So if we can get those other things in and you're okay with them, I'm not, and the way Mr. Brown's talking about potentially, I don't know, I think he was thinking about maybe even put a couple extra ones in that could be kind of close to each other. I'm not sure I want to go riding way over there, and you might flip something, but would that be something you can get back to us pretty quickly on, maybe before,
Yeah, we should be able
before
to.
Thursday?
Just get in touch with me.
Not a problem. Thank you.
You were thinking about, Dave, you were thinking about putting 2 together, like kind of, yeah, like, yeah, so you kind of, okay.
I guess we'll go and put it in.
All right. Does anyone wish to address the mayor and council this evening? If so, raise your hand. All right, if you'll come on up, state your name, your address, whether you're a resident of the city of Houston, you'll have up to 5 minutes.
Push the button.
No.
Rodney Cato, 140 Hawthorne. I am resident of Houston. I don't know if you're gonna answer these questions or not, but I got 2 things. I apologize, I hadn't been to the council meeting, we're going to make football games all last fall, and I missed a bunch of stuff. So I wanna know, I wanna know the status, what's going on with Larry's Garage, where we stand with that. Last time I heard was the negotiations, and haven't heard anything else, haven't seen anything going on. Second thing, I was told that the city was gonna be let a contract in February to fix the roads in our subdivision. And I've been told anything, and I've not heard a word on that. I don't know what's the name, what the status, what that is. When that's gonna be done, so I can let people know, subdivision, that they're not gonna fall in the hole.
Do you mind if I answer that?
Let me answer the Larry's Garage one first.
Sorry.
Let me answer the Larry's Garage question first.
Thank you.
Sure, anytime. We actually are having a meeting, with, the developer and council a week from today, to talk about the plans. So once we have that meeting, we'll be able to make it public. So It's still moving forward. It's a little slower because the developer is concentrating on the pasta restaurant right next door, which is opening the first or second week of April. So, yes, me too. So it's not dead. Please don't think it's dead. It's concentration is over here right now. Food before renovation. Thank you for asking. And Jennifer will answer the next one.
Yes, so we have had a little delay in your project, which we should have anytime in the next week. Our engineer had a baby, and the baby, was having some complications. So he was out of the office, for several weeks. And so, but he's back, and, he is gonna be putting bids out. He said, hopefully by the end of, March, we'll have those out, and then, we'll get moving on it, so. But your project is, I mean, the village is the priority, 100%, because it's budgeted for this year, so we have to have it done. That is what's on the, yes, agenda.
Yeah, it'd be hard to have a roof without a house, but yeah. Yep.
All right, that was the only hand, so that'll conclude citizen input. And we do need an executive session for real estate.
So I'm gonna make a motion to go into executive. Is there a second? Thank you, Dave. All in favor, please? Okay, we'll be back. Thank you.
I drank too much water.
These folks know your Jefferson Drive. Yeah. You sound just like your dad that you want. Well, it's a good quality to have. Thanks for telling me. All right, I'll wait for you. You know, I've seen that before, that Thank you very much. Thank you.